Terrific show lined up. I'm going to bring my guest in right now. No further ado, please welcome international activist and filmmaker, Kathy Eldon. Hey, Kathy.
You had me nervous there.
I know,
you
right?
disappeared completely. So upsetting.
You were trapped in the green room all alone, huh?
All alone, and it was so bad.
Well,
everything. I hate these things because the internet didn't work. I had to run up to the center. I couldn't find you anymore. I don't know. This better be good is all I can say. This better be good. And now my bloody phone is ringing. This is absurd.
No, this is okay. This is life. This is good.
Oh, man.
Let's start off with right away with something you said earlier when we were talking. And these aren't the right words, but something from you'll probably find the right words because you said them earlier. Tragedy to triumph, or
well, purpose. Yeah, and I think triumph can be a little bit of a rather a big word. I think for me it was pain into purpose. It was grief into a new goal, perhaps. I found right now the world is grieving, and I think we're grieving for so many people. 101,000 people in the United States alone, and nearly 400,000 people around the world. So that's the people part of it. And for each one person, there is a network of people who love that person or who know about that person. So it's devastating. But beyond that kind of grief, there's the grief of loss of purpose, of possibility, of graduation, of all the things that so far have given a lot of meaning. I think it's an opportunity for us to try to take that grieving energy and transform it into something really positive and that we can live for, and it's a big challenge, but I would urge us all to try to do that.
You're living proof of that. For people who don't know, your son, Dan, was killed in Somalia in early 1990s. And so those of you listening, this is not just a philosophy. This is an actualization of a philosophy. And I really appreciate that you took that pain and turned it into the Creative Vision Foundation. And I think the foundation, the center existed, but then the foundation came next, correct?
Well, actually, yeah, if we really backtrack, right after Dan was killed, I knew that I would really die inside. I would dissolve if I didn't do something with pain. So we got very involved in journalistic, and I think everybody knows that journalism is a really threatened profession, and journalists themselves are threatened. And they were threatened in the old days physically, and they are around the world. But right now, they're really threatened because there is a suppression of truth and of journalism. So in those days, it was really about their physical safety, and I tackled that, with enthusiasm because we had the deaths of 4 young people together with Dan. So that was the beginning of it. But then, you kind of get hooked on the idea that you have the power to change the world around you. And that's always been our theory, is forget about the whole world. Really, that's hard. But look at what you can influence in the world around you. So we went from journalists at risk to then really helping people who are artists and writers and photographers and filmmakers, all varieties of creative people. People have a creative spark inside them that they want to use not only for themselves, but for others as well. So we started producing films with issues that mattered, and then we started the center, which is really amazing. And I'm sitting in it right now.
I've been to the center. I've got Malibu behind me.
I love it.
It's beautiful. I wanted to be as close to you as I could. Yeah, the center's an incredible place. It's in Malibu, everybody. And if you're ever in Cali and Malibu, you got to look Kathy up and see if you can get a visit there. It's a hub of activity. And you were doing, while I was there in LA, you were doing these summer soirees or networking.
They're sundowners, man. And normally I would have a glass of wine here. I've got the veranda out there, which is so beautiful. I can just tune you into that. And that's where we have our sundowners. And now we're gonna start doing little bitty ones and virtual ones. But I think in future we will get all the people back, which we're really excited about.
We were watching seals jump around in the ocean right outside your window there.
Yeah, they're dolphins. It's all absolutely. Get back here, man.
I'm gonna be back there. So you're an incubator, you're an accelerator, and I noticed through your website that a lot of the emphasis is on community and filmmakers and telling stories. What got you into this? Like, when did you become this person who is, or were you always? But what was the moment, or where did you turn into this activist and using creativity and creative activism, which is a phrase you coined a lot?
Thank you. We even trademarked it so nobody would use it the wrong way. We want everybody to use it, but nobody to use it the wrong way. Actually, I was a journalist in Kenya at the Nation newspaper, and I wrote about everybody who was interesting to me. And they were all varieties of people, but they were people who were activated. Their souls were activated, and they believed that they could do something. And in those days, you didn't necessarily get a license. You didn't have to have a PhD. You know, you just, if you saw a problem, you rolled up sleeves and you did something about it. So I got to write about all of those people who inspired me massively and inspired Dan. But I realized in my journalism that we could probably touch 1 million people because they had 300,000, 200,000 subscription, and 4 people read the magazine, newspaper. But I wanted to do more. And I realized when I was on the set of Out of Africa, I was the only journalist allowed on the set, which was amazing, that if you do films, you can reach millions more, you know, with the same story.
Sure.
So I resolved that I was going to become a filmmaker, but tell stories that mattered. To me, and that's sort of arrogant, but you know, stories that could move people's hearts and minds. So the first film that I made in 1990 was a feature film, which you will never have heard of, called Lost in Africa, which probably was good that it was lost in Africa, but it was a feature about ivory poaching. And it launched at the same moment that a film that turned out to be based on the same exact book launched by Disney. So that was awkward, to say the least. But I learned about how to make feature films.
Great. Let's check in with our chat because it's already boiling over in there.
Boiling over, my gosh.
I'm going to give you an idea who's in the room. Elizabeth Harder, a great young actress, is in the room.
Yay, Elizabeth.
Katha Cato, the director of the Queens World Film Festival, is in the room.
Love it.
Jack Fuller out on the West Coast, Amy Alt, my brother Andrew, Wayne Simmons, Callie Greenberg, Wally Green, who's going to be on the show next week.
Yeah.
Wally Green came from a tough neighborhood in the Bronx, and table tennis saved his life, and now he's a pro, going all over the world playing people.
Wally, I'll take you on. That's my sport. Yeah, no problem. Just Wally and I, no problem. Out here.
A great actress and singer, Heather Prescott, and a number of these people are with the group VIP Talent, which is, I know you're a fan of, as am I.
I am such a fan. I'm a groupie. Robert, I'm a groupie.
Okay. Becky Savell from Simi Valley, who's also been to your place in Malibu. B. Kim Taylor, a great writer, is with us. Amy Decker, Bill Leafers, Joshua Smith, Anna Messenger, Kathleen Rigby. Got to shout them all out. Beta Posniak, Barbara Lettieri, Cynthia Knapp Marks, Barbara Groth, Evelyn Weber, Chris Callaghan, Daniel Byard, John Funabiki.
I feel loved. Thank you, people. I was sure nobody would tune in. This is good. This is good.
Kwame is with us as well. And Elizabeth Harder says, "You are beautiful. Love that red scarf."
It's my security blanket. I never take it off. It's summer.
Is it really? It's one of those things.
Mine.
All right. So let's see if we got a question here. If not, we're going to go back to our conversation. Zulima's with us. Hi, Zulima. So folks, go ahead. Start popping your questions in. All right. Turko Ono, who's a regular of the show, says, "I can't imagine your loss. How did you pick yourself up? I heard your daughter was a great help to you."
Yeah, thank you very much, Turko. After Dan's death, you know, everybody out there, I am sure you've all gone through the loss of someone you love. And there's a process, there's a journey that we make. And about 2 years into it, my daughter, Amy, had dropped out of college. She had re-enrolled at another college, but she was so sad, and I was so sad, and I was in LA and she was in Boston. And one day she called me and she said, "Mom, I can't go on. I'm done. You know, I really can't do this." And I was in my my bedroom, and I looked around, and there was an angel a dream catcher over my bed. And I looked at it, and I got this idea, and I said, "I know, Amy, you can make an angel catcher." And she said, "Well, what's that?" And I said, "It's a book, it's a journal where you keep the memories of Dan and how his voice sounded, and just cuttings and pictures." So that sort of cheered her up. And at Christmas time, she came back with her angel catcher. And that book became an actual book. Thank you. I didn't even know you had that. But it's a guided journal, and it's a journal of loss and remembrance. And it's really how we got through, because it's not avoiding the conversation around someone you love. It's embracing that conversation and capturing the essence of the person. And it's only got little prompts, so the 2,000 words that we have written, but everything else is what the other people write. So for me, that the journey of actually transforming that pain into a creative project actually really, really helped.
I suggest people go online and get the book. I have it. And I was shocked when I opened it that there was very little writing, but it was all very powerful, short doses with opportunities for me to then contribute my feelings and my writing. And it was quite beautiful. And I guess it spawned this book.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So first of all, we had to get through the grief, and then it's like, okay, so here I am. Now what the hell do I do? And it was really finding purpose in life, purpose and meaning. And I realized that I'm blocked in so many ways by my old scripts and Amy's old scripts. So together, again, Amy was, obviously she's my daughter. So there are 2 generations operating on all of these books, but we worked through a journal to help you become who you really are. And I'm really proud of that book. And neither of these books could we ever do now, but it's a guided journal. And that led to the 3rd book, which is somewhere, I don't know if you got it, Love Catcher. That book, now that one is really powerful. That one actually led to Amy and me marrying 2 guys who lived next door to each other. So I got the first guy, and then he was renting to the second guy, and Amy married the second guy, and I married the first guy. So it's really good. This Love Catcher is powerful.
That's great.
So just turn whatever you need into a creative project.
Right. I mean, that's the essence of life, right? Is to be creative and create love and hope. So here's your daughter and you.
Yes. Very proud of Amy. She lives next door. She is my best friend, supporter, survivor. I have to say survivor. I remember she lived below me for a while, and when she'd get angry, she would slam the door really, really hard and growl, and then the door would open and she'd scream, "I love you," because we know that something can happen. Dan was killed. He was fine one day and he was dead the next day. And that's a pretty brutal thing. But right now, there are people around us who may not be there next week. We do not know. So we never, ever can leave a conversation without some sort of resolution. Don't go to bed angry. It's just not a good thing. Just figure it out, sort it out. Damn it.
I agree with you 100%. And seeing as we're on some family photos, who are we looking at here?
Well, this is Arabella, who a lot of people feel may, resemble me rather for good or whatever, but she's 5 and she is my granddaughter who lives next door. And we've started our own, Robert, move aside. I'm afraid Wally has to sort himself out with a ping pong, but Arabella and I have got our own show. It's on Facebook, and it's called Bells and Whistles, Arabella. And it's pretty, it's way up there. I don't know. We're getting a lot of views.
That's good. That's great.
Yeah.
And this is when you were in Africa with Dan?
That is. Dan was the 3rd AD, which is really a phrase for a glorified traffic mover. And he was doing the project, Lost in Africa was the film. So we both learned an enormous amount. And I never wanted to do another film after that, but I have done quite a few. But it's being on a film, you learn all the challenging aspects of it. So that was my learning.
Laurel Werner in the chat says, "Hi, Kevin. So happy to hear your voice."
Love it. Thank you, Laurel.
Got a couple questions here. Heather Prescott asks, so do you have a recommendation on how to submit for film scoring to break into the industry?
Good question. We right now have a network, a Creative Activist Network under Creative Visions, and you can go on to creativevisions.org and check out our Creative Activist Network. It's a pretty active place, and you can put up what you're doing and offer yourself. We have hundreds of filmmakers who need material, who need music, who need somebody to compose something or to take a snip of something you already have. So that would be 80 for sure, but you've got to find somebody who needs, and probably fairly inexpensively or maybe even very inexpensively, what you've got, and come together with that person so that you get a resume, you get a portfolio of your work.
Thank you. To James, Turco Ono, you already answered the question, but I'm going to put it out there. Your daughter, Amy, is very talented, graduated from my alma mater, BU.
Good.
And then he said, tell us about her, and you have already, so we'll move on, but I wanted to acknowledge the
There's more.
I'm sure. B. Kim Taylor, who is a writer living in New York, a really wonderful writer, asks, what has been your greatest creative challenge?
Oh, wow. Yeah, this is interesting. I think I've actually had 17 books published. I've done a whole load of films. And then this center. I think my greatest creative challenge is something that everybody will understand out there, is how do you get things funded? How do you keep your body and soul together? How do you pay the rent? How do you eat when you have something that's burning inside you that you have to do, and you don't know how to make it happen because you are starving or your landlord is upset? So for me, I think the greatest creative challenge is how have I always managed to find a way to survive and ultimately to thrive. But it isn't easy, and my heart goes out to everybody, and you mustn't give up. You must be very creative. And I've spent years being a PR person, or whatever it took, getting up very early to do whatever it took to be able to do the creative stuff. Do not give up on yourself.
Callie Greenberg wants to know she said, if I'm just learning about Kathy Eldon, which book of yours would you want me to pull off the shelf and why?
Okay, Charlotte, I'm actually going to do this. I wasn't going to do it, but this book took me 16 years to write. So this was my greatest creative challenge. And it's called In the Heart of Life, A Restless Soul, A Search for Meaning, and a Bond That Nothing Could Break. It's really hard to write a book about yourself that other people would ever want to read. And why should they? But this distills life experience, love, a lot of love. It's a bit racy. You're probably all too young to read it, but it really is what I learned about spirituality, about life after life, about creativity, about creative activism. And it's a rollicking adventure story. So it's not like it's ponderous or pious, but that's the one I would read if you can get hold of it. Go to the library, you can get it at the library.
There's a lot of places other than Amazon to go get books.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Your local independent bookstore.
Let's see here. I'm getting a lot of great questions here. So, okay. Turco Ono's got another question, which is great. How do you pick the projects you support? And you've written 17 books or so. Where do you find the inspiration and stamina? I am interested in stamina. Yeah.
Guess what? I've been around for a while, all right? So, 17 books over a long period of time is no big deal, but stamina for sure. And in the beginning, the first book I ever did was a collection of guidance, or no, actually it was a social history book for kids. I looked for opportunities to be able to do things, and I did them for very, very little to get my toe in the door. So when you're just getting going, don't worry as much about how much you're going to get paid. If you get paid something, that's great, but just get the credentials, get the book, get the script, get the screenplay, get the audition, get whatever it is, just go for it, run at it. I've always taken what is in front of me and tried to turn it into something. So the first book I did in Kenya was a guidebook for newcomers because I really needed the information. So I sold all the ads and I created the book. And then I love to cook, so I did 3 cookbooks in Kenya. And then I did an eating out guide because I love, going to restaurants. You just do what you can with what you have where you are. That is not original to me. That's Teddy Roosevelt. But look around you. And right now there are opportunities around you, even though you may be trapped in a little apartment in Cleveland. There are opportunities. See what's your view and start writing about it.
Great. And again, just so you know, everybody, and you, Kathy, I'm listening, I'm taking it in, but I am multitasking with our audience to bring in and let this be not just a conversation between you and I, like a normal television talk show, but our interactivity is here. So with that, Laurel Werner says, what has been your biggest creative challenge during COVID-19?
Kali, that's really good. We really, really have diversified, we've refocused, we've redefined our structure with COVID-19. I think it's trying to see how we can be most effective and most impactful. And I think we've really arrived at some very exciting possibilities. We're launching something called COVID Smart, which is going to be a training program for businesses and organizations to be able to bring their workers safely back to work. And it's really a big challenge. And it's something you think, my God, can we actually do this? But we're doing it. Our Rock Your World program is serving educators and their parents and children around the world to really be able to deal with the issues that they're dealing with. So on every level, I would say there's not one creative challenge. It's like, oh my God, what can we do that's really going to impact people?
So that ties into a question that somebody has here, which is, you wear a lot, Samantha Firestein, well, you wear a lot of hats. Which hat do you prefer?
Got a bunch over there. Golly, I think there are categories. There are buckets. So one bucket, the personal bucket, I'm really enjoying this whole granny thing during COVID, because the kids have no way to escape you. You're there. They have to be there. The part that makes my heart sing every day is to come up to this center and be with our team. A lot of young people on the team who keep us all on our toes, and then the wisdom of the elders in the crew. It really is so exciting to be able to do what you love passionately and be able to make it your vocation. And I know that your audience, your VIP crowd, their vocation is their art. And I would say add the activism part of it, and so many of them are already doing that.
Yeah.
But to activate your soul, you're already activated as artists, but there's another aspect of activation, which is giving back to others that creative spark that you have yourself. That turns me on.
Me too, yeah, as you know, and that's something we share, you and I. Jess Burnquist, you sure know how to hustle. Thanks so much for inspiring others every day. #best boss.
Thank you. Thank you, Jess.
And Amy Decker says, John Welso sent me the book. And I think that's that book you're talking about. Yeah. And I couldn't set it down. I finished it in 2 days.
Thank you. Thank you. It was worth 16 years just to have you say that, Amy. Thank you so much.
Callie Greenberg wants to know, what mantras and life lessons do you live by? So do you have a mantra that you, I've got a couple myself. Do you have a couple or one that's really significant?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I have so many. What's for you won't go by you is an old Scottish phrase. So that kind of comforts you when you think, oh my gosh, it's disappearing, and you think, oh, what's for you won't go by you. That's great. My people will roll their eyes when they hear my mantras, but I'm just going to say that one right now. Let's just stick with that one.
Okay. We got some more questions here. I love this. Let's see. What advice would you give to aspiring creative activists today? And I think you've given a ton, so maybe just refine it based on that question.
Look around you. Look around you right now. What is troubling you in the world around you? Oh, actually, I pulled this one too. This is the Creative Activist Toolkit for a guide to changing the world around you. That's Dan right there. Don't worry about what's way far away. Look at what you can influence right now, what's right in front of you, and go for it. And then think about what's your creative gift. What's no big deal for you? Because what's no big deal for you, you put with somebody else's no big deal, and you do the never been done before. So it's the little NBDs, and then you make the great big NBDs. And I just love that concept.
Love that.
Don't stretch. Just do what's easy to you. I can't compose music. I need my friend over there who wants to break into the music world.
Heather Prescott, yes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Destiny Gay just joined us. Andrew Einhorn has a question. After just watching a documentary on LSD, I'm curious if Kathy has ever used psychedelics or cannabis or other drugs for inspiration, or to, quote, find the truth of something that she's been searching out.
Well, Andrew, that's really good. Is the politically correct thing to say, I didn't inhale? Is that kind of like what we're supposed to say? So guess what? Certainly in, the 60s were an interesting time. And of course I inhaled, and I never liked it because your mouth is dry. I have on occasion tried some things. I've quite frankly, as most people who know me, I'm permanently, it's as though I'm on something anyway, and they want to just bring me down. They want tranquilizers.
I felt that.
Yeah, so I think I've never actually, I've always been intrigued by mushrooms, but I've not actually done it. So I'm pretty boring in that realm. I'm fascinated by meditation. I have had experiences where I have had that transcendent experience, and once with a healer as well. So I know where you can go if you're a little more patient than I am, and I need to do far more of the true meditation, I think.
There's a ton of new research about how mushrooms are actually great for the mind and great
Yes.
for depression.
Yes. Yeah, for depression, right.
Yeah. James, all right, so Turko Ono, who's full of questions, has a very important question here. All right, you ready for this one?
What's the meaning of life? No, I don't know. No.
It's even deeper than that.
Oh, God.
Favorite food and favorite cocktail with a twist?
Oh, wow. What fun. Thank you, Turko. I love your questions. You're good, man. This is good. Favorite, I really, really, really love coffee ice cream. That sounds incredibly boring, but I just had some, I went to the Malibu Farmers Market last weekend, which is very weird because it's all, so, you know, mask is up to here, but I got some great Greek, the olive dip, and then tara masalata. So as of this minute, I'm really kind of turned on by that too. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Yeah. It could change tomorrow.
Alicia Doherty is butting in here and saying your drug is Yorkshire Gold.
I just got a shipment too.
What is it? What's Yorkshire Gold?
Thank you, Alicia. We'd run out, and I've been sucking on the old tea bags. Yorkshire Gold is the best tea in the world, and Alicia's my right hand. She's my brain, and she knows exactly. So today we got 320 bags of Yorkshire Gold in the mail from
Nice.
Bed Bath & Beyond. If anybody wants to try it, it's really good stuff.
It's 10:30, which means our show is officially
over.
It's over.
Man, I loved it. It was really fun. Thank you.
But if you have a few minutes, and if we can get some thumbs up and some hearts in the chat, will you stick around for a few more minutes?
Yeah, no, I mean, I can do it. I haven't had dinner yet, but I can push.
Do a few more minutes.
If anybody out there is
in order to do this, in order to go into overtime, we play a game called 5 Objects, where I'm going to show you 5 objects that I've noticed in my house because I've been in quarantine that I'm like, why do I still have that? Or, oh my God, I'm so glad I still have that. And all you got to do is just give us a reaction, a simple reaction or a thought or a feeling.
It's like a Rorschach test, something weird.
Yeah, I've got somebody in the chat who is going to analyze your answers, okay?
This is very scary. I'm quitting. Forget it. I've got to go home. I've got to have dinner.
It's all trivial. It's all trivial. Here we go. A box of chalk.
A box. Oh, yes. Pavements. I love pavement. Yes, perfect. Easy. All sidewalk.
Right. Oh, here's one. A passport.
Passport. Get me out of here now. I had a ticket booked to London and around Europe for May. I want to get out of here. No, I'm happy.
A jar with change in it.
Love it. Penny theater. We just made a penny theater with the 5-year-old. She will really dig those pennies. Yeah.
An artwork by a great artist named Magda Love of the Heart.
It's so lovely. It's just beating like crazy. It's almost like you want to eat it. I don't know. I'm just going to munch into it.
And then have some Yorkshire Gold after. And our final item in the 5 objects, a hat that says immigrant.
Immigrant. Love. Absolutely love. Necessary, brutalized, and we need you, immigrants. Absolutely. We've got to fight for you.
I love wearing this around New York.
Absolutely. I love it. We all are. Let's face it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So you were mentioning that you're going to unveil some new technology.
Yes, we are. We've got something in the center right now. We have a green screen, and we've been filming recently Joe Sumner, who is one of the world's truly talented artists. We filmed him, and then we sent the film to San Diego to have magic performed on it. And when it came back, when you aim your phone with his image in it over there at my chair, it appears like Joe is sitting in the chair. He's strumming his guitar and singing. It's the most incredible thing. It's called Enbly, E-N-B-L-Y. And I'm not sure if it's totally available right now, but you can write to me and we will make sure that you can have access to this thing. But we're going to be using it to beam artists and photographers and filmmakers and spiritual leaders and Robert Galinsky into your living room as though you are sitting with us.
Good timing.
It's exciting. Yeah, really exciting. We're thrilled. This is Ted Schilowitz, one of our real mentors and guides and board members, who's the chief futurist for Viacom. So he's thinking way out beyond the horizon here.
And you don't need to worry about 6 feet distance with that either, which is great.
No, quite. Oh, and the other thing we're going to be doing soon is with Facebook and CARE, we're going to be launching a campaign called Share Your Smile, Show You Care, which is really cool. Stay tuned for that. I want to, I'll put it up on your website in another week or two.
Thank you. We're going to close up in a few minutes, but there's still some good questions that are being fired up here, and some comments, and some new people just joined us that I want to shout out for you. Molly Jones Beagleman, Fiona Goodwin, Kathy Hainan, Sean Robbins, Warren Lamb, Jeannie Myers. Your people are here. They're supporting.
Thank you, people. I wish I could see you.
Leah Kamaiko, Susan Hoffman-Hyman, Lori Corley Blahnik.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
Jess Burnquist, Wendy Jewell, M. Jewell, and she loves Yorkshire Gold. Jess Burnquist says, great show. So I'm going to plug the show. Jess, thank you. 5 nights a week, 10 p.m. Eastern. Great guests, very eclectic guests who are all doing something interesting and changing the world. Laurel Werner is with us. Be safe. What a pleasant surprise.
So kind.
Joan Vavra Burke, Melissa June Rowley. Hey, Melissa. I know Melissa.
Yeah.
And Laurel Werner, you rock my world, says Laurel Werner.
Thank you so much. Wow.
Heather Prescott, the musician and actress, wants to know, who are the women that have inspired you? By the way, you're lovely and uplifting.
Thank you so much, Heather. I just wrote down your name because we need to know each other. I'm working right now on a project about Eleanor Roosevelt, and we want Eleanor to be the person like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who is a sort of rock star. And Eleanor Roosevelt, I think, has long been neglected, but she was the instigator of the Declaration of Human Rights, upon which our Rock Your World program is based. And I think she's fantastic, and just nobody knows her enough. So I'm going to go with Eleanor.
Okay, cool. Zulima Paulus Rose now says, activate your soul. I absolutely love that. I also completely understand the concept of using what you have around you to flourish. You're a total inspiration for somebody who's already pretty motivated.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you. Thank you. I love Activate Your Soul. That's a Ralph Waldo Emerson. The one thing in the world of value is the active soul, free, sovereign, unencumbered. This every man is entitled to. This every man holds within, but in most it's obstructed and is yet unborn. Oh. So you want an active soul.
Beautiful, beautiful. Mark David Bernbach has just joined us. Keith Davis has just joined us. I'm looking for the next question or two. Samantha Firestein wants to know, what are you currently reading?
Oh, wow, boy. I'm reading American Dirt. I can't remember the author, but it's a friend of mine is going to be making a film about it. And it's a very powerful story of a forced immigration to the United States by somebody who's facing warlords in Mexico. It just breaks your heart, actually. It's really worth reading.
We're gonna look at some more pictures because I want to just show off my guest here a little bit more and some of the things you've done. You could just tell us a little bit about what we're looking at briefly.
That's Dan. That's my son Dan, and I feel that he is a vibrant spirit, and I look at him with such joy. And people say, "Is it all right if we talk about him?" But I call him a noisy spirit, and I do firmly believe in the existence of life after life. And my experience with him has been pretty incredible. So that's Safari's a Way of Life, which is written by Jennifer New, who's a highly talented author.
Great. Jennifer Anderson in the chat just said, Kathy for president.
Hey, there we go. Let's do this. Everybody, come on, let's pile on. We certainly need to.
We're doing a good job of staying away from that.
We're doing our best. Yes.
The Journals of Dan Eldon. The Journey. Tell me about this. The Journey is the Destination. These are Dan's journals?
Yes, this is a collection of 300 of Dan's journal pages published by Chronicle Books, who actually went on to publish 4 books about Dan's art and philosophy. And if you think about it, that's all that matters, people, is the journey. And we don't know how long we have. We don't know whether there is no destination except a sort of inevitable, destination. So make the journey matter. Make this night, stay up late, call somebody you love, make this part of the journey really, really matter.
That's beautiful, yes.
And we made a feature film. That was the biggest creative challenge. My book and the feature, that took 23 years. So any of you people out there who are feeling discouraged about a creative venture. It was 23 years, but we made it. And Maria Bello, the beautiful Maria Bello, plays me. Ben Schnetzer plays Dan. It's just, Yusra Warsama plays Dan's girlfriend. It's just the most beautiful film. It's on Netflix, directed by Bronwyn Hughes. Hardest thing, honestly, to have done, but we did it in South Africa with Kwaku Mandela as one of the producers, grandson of Nelson. Oh my goodness, we got that one. Oh, isn't he lovely? He kissed me right there, right there.
Oh, that's great. What was the occasion? You guys did a project together, yeah?
Yeah, it's Who Cares I Do. And it's a beautiful, it's Who Cares I Do global.com. If you go onto whocaresidoglobalcom, you will see the wondrous Paul McCartney and the just radiant Emma Stone. It's all about bullying, but it's a fun sort of video. And there's a making of where you get a glimpse of me for 1/18 of a second. But I was there, I really was. We produced the campaign around it.
I looked at this photograph, and then the next photograph that we're going to see really made me smile because your name's on the marquee with Henry Rollins.
Yes, that's why I kept that. Alicia Doherty produced all these pictures and sent them to you, but I kind of like this one. I think it's, and Common. Look at that, Common too. I mean, there I am, right there with Common, and I mean, wow. And it's Iowa City, which is a very cool place. I'm from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and I'm proud to be a Cedar Rapids, Iowa person. Yeah. Ashton Kutcher is from Iowa, Cedar Rapids as well.
Well, you got some prominent people there.
Oh yeah, it's really good. He's cool.
We're gonna do just a couple more questions, and then we're gonna let you go eat dinner. I really appreciate you taking the time. And look, if you got this much dinner before dinner, I mean, energy before dinner, I don't want to see it after. Mark David Birnbach wants to know, what poet has made a mark on you?
Wow, this is a good question. Henry David Thoreau, who's not really a poet exactly, but yes, I mean, I love that breed of philosopher writers. There's there's another one that's totally unknown, that Do Not Stand at My Grave and Weep. I am not there, I do not sleep. It's kind of cheesy, but it's very beautiful.
Mark also mentions, have you heard of Maddie J.T. Stepanek?
Of course, I've got Maddie's book. Absolutely love Maddie, and he was at the TEDx. His mother was at the TEDx where you and I met, Robert.
Yeah.
His incredible mother. Yeah, everybody needs to check out Maddie Stepanek.
That's amazing.
Thank you for that.
Katha Cato is a very good friend of mine, and to divulge something personal, she and I constantly share energy. How do we stay up with everything we try to do, and in the face of everything that's going on? So she's saying, she has a question, which is, how do you re-energize with everything you're putting out in the world? How do you fill yourself back up?
I really love, and I didn't even plant this question, but we're doing a project right now with our team, with Ella and Alicia and Georgia of Creative Visions. It's called Bounce, and it's how to get back up when you're feeling down. And I'm really deeply concerned, whether it's a chronic illness, whether it's the COVID depression, that 1/3 of American adults now are recognized to be depressed. And I think the number of students is probably higher. So stay tuned for Bounce. I'm collecting, I'd love contributions from each one of you about how do you get back up when you're feeling down. I think for me, it's being inspired by other people's stories and trying in some way to be a contributor to something positive. That's honestly, that fuels me. When I was sad this morning, I went for a walk on the beach and the sand is gone. All it is rocks, and it's really depressing. And I came inside and I had the opportunity to call somebody who I was able to uplift a bit, and then I felt fine, better anyway.
Right. All right. Are you? I was going to ask you, are you binge watching anything? But you've told us so many great titles of things. I don't think we need to go.
Yeah, we did all of Downton Abbey again over that weekend, PBS.
Okay. And now the next question. These are kind of my formulaic finishing the show questions. We're on a Zoom call. Are you wearing pants?
I am wearing a leopard skirt. I'm just showing you my skirt, okay? I put myself together for you. Yeah.
We've discovered that so many people on Zoom calls don't wear pants. Okay.
No, I understand that, but today I put a skirt on because I'm usually in some boring pants, and I thought, damn it, I want to look good.
Good.
And I put perfume on too.
You did.
I did. Yeah, thank you.
Pixelated, Pixelated perfume. All right, so people start shouting out your goodbyes and your thank yous, and I'll feed them back to you. This is another thing we do on the show at the end. Amy McCormick says, all the transcendentalists. Jennifer Anderson says, Kathy is the sun. Doug Levitt says, the indefatigable Kathy puts the inspires in inspires.
Thank you.
Somebody shouted out Whitman. I guess they like Whitman as a poet. Samantha Firestein says, pivot. Callie Greenberg is telling somebody else, the journey is the destination, because they wanted to know the name of the film. Zulima says, you're such a young soul. I wish you the longest and healthiest life possible, because there's so much inside you that we need to receive. Samantha says, you're feeding my soul. If you weren't Kathy Eldon, who was making films, creating or espousing creative activism, writing books, what would you be?
I would be Kathy Eldon, sharing what I've learned with a larger audience, to try to inspire people to believe they have a role to play in changing the world around them, and helping at some level guide the conversation. And I don't mean that arrogantly, but I've learned so much, and I'm surrounded by so many good people, and I'd like to be able to do way more than I've been able to do so far. I'm just getting going, Robert. You're inspiring me.
I got you. So that segues nicely into my final question, which is, do you have a call to action for us, for our audience, and for me?
Oh, thank you. I think one of our new mottos, really, this is the mantra, is connection is the solution. And tonight, I would ask us all to connect with ourselves, go deeply into ourselves, go deeply into others, call whomever it is that you know you should call and you haven't quite done it yet, and also connect with Creative Visions. Go on to creativevisions.org, sign up for our Creative Activist Network, and it's free. Just do it. Why not? And then you can post what you're up to, but connection is the solution. That's how we'll get through all this and thrive on the other side.
All right, I got to do a couple more shout outs because these people are loving you. Wendy Jewell says, grateful for you both. Jennifer Anderson says, Kathy's a bright, shining star. Laura Werner says, love the question. If you weren't Kathy Eldon, who would you be? And you said, Kathy Eldon.
Honestly, I'm pretty lucky.
Amy McCormick says, Philadelphia loves you. Sam Gustman just joined us. Sam, you're going to have to go back and watch the replay. It'll be up in no time at all. Kathy is 8 days a week, says Jennifer Anderson. Callie Greenberg says, oh my God, Robert and Kathy, what an amazing show. Thank you for all the love and knowledge. It looks like we're good.
Good.
Elizabeth Harder says, oh my God, I love you. Connection is the solution. Winnie Maria's with us. She says, thank you. So enjoy your dinner. Thank you so much for being with us.
Much love to everybody.
You're going to have a deluge of new friends on Facebook.
I hope so. Please do. Can't wait. All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks, Robert. Thank you.
Kathy, I love you.
Love you. Bye-bye.